Alrighty, welcome back everyone to round 20 of the NRL and the Supercoach season, NRL Fantasy 2. If you do watch these videos for that, which I totally recommend you should, because you just adjust the matchup scores accordingly, but the weaknesses are going to be pretty much exactly the same. And then with the draft callouts for waiver wire and free agency stuff, super applicable. Hey, ownership numbers will be a bit different, value of CT dubs will be a bit different, but a lot of it is pretty translatable. Like number one pickups usually pretty translatable. So yeah, it's another round, dude. It's the dog days. Like everyone's like, oh, Origin. I mean, maybe it's just for me, but like Origin's like actually quite interesting. There's complexities, there's restings, there's who's the best play, there's opportunity to buy low, trade, buy low, sell high, trade analysis in the Origin period's actually sick. But yeah, like round 20, man, I've been working overtime, so I'm not sick of the footy, but yeah, sick of matchups, analysis, topics, all this stuff. Like, so if you want me to keep pumping these videos out, throughout finals and stuff, then I'm going to need a lot of likes and comments on the videos, boys. If you watch it and you get value out of it, hit those buttons, keep me motivated and fresh, because once I'm in finals, I might just go into lockdown mode myself and just get focus on my teams and leagues, because I'm gassed just firing this up and doing this whole thing. So if you saw the accountability post on Instagram today, the model struggled last week, and that's purely because the Storm didn't bury the Titans. The Dolphins didn't turn up at all. The Tigers were crap. Who else goofed us? Let me just quickly check. Because I run the... Oh, I gotta check. Yes, I gotta check the accountability post. The waiver pickups were immense, though. We nailed nearly all of them. Yeah, so like... Alofi Pereira, Dill Lucas, Jamayne Salmon randomly hit on gun matchups. But yeah, the Dolphins flopping, even Simi Sasagi flopping, just brutal stuff. Tigers, everything just let us down. In the elites, we had like Tommy and Kinney pretty good, and then we had like Lehigh, not amazing. Bradman Best didn't play. Sami, Brimson, Gagai, Avarillo, Karaz, Galvin, Burns hit, didn't play. Just so many guys missed. But then if we go through the waiver recommendations, we had Daniel Tupou hit, Joey Walsh, Sione Katoa, Jake Simkin, Trey Fuller, somehow in a 66-0 loss, Trey Fuller hit like 70. Jeremiah Nanai was serviceable. Bradley Schneider was a miss, obviously. And Ari Twal didn't play. Noah Martin was a clear dub. So yeah, really strong on the waiver suggestions last week. So I did the accountability post. In terms of accuracy, we can maybe go through that at the end. I did post an accuracy update last week's matchup post, if you didn't catch it, which I don't think I can see. Oh yeah, got it. So for me, like a quick team update classic wise, dude, I took the VC off Olakau'atu because I had the C on him in fantasy and wanted to mix up my exposure, and went to Herbie. But I feel okay about it because I didn't consider Hynes at all, given the matchup. I wasn't super enthusiastic what it was looking like for Nicho Hynes. But yeah, from an accuracy update perspective on the model, how it's behaving, we're at 59% overall, the model, which is really good. So anything above 45% of the overall model, I'm happy with. Gun calls have dropped quite a bit to 47%. Again, it's much harder for a player with a gun call out, which I always talk about first. We always list them in gold. Much harder for them to hit because we're basically saying like this is the number one guy of all the rankings based on his ability and the opportunity. So it is a tight gate. I'd say anything above, so it's right now it's at 47%. Again, so model 45 plus I'm happy with, maybe 44 plus. Gun calls I'm happy with. Anything over 40% is okay. Like for a 47% chance for these guys to translate is pretty good. The reason I say you think, oh, that doesn't seem great, trust me, when Supercoach has that many variables, that's decent. It has kind of two modes. It has like your consistent guys that are going to help it convert at a high rate at like 60+%, and then you're kind of like unpredictable guys that really miss a lot. Like fullbacks are like this year, fullbacks have just not done a great job at having the matchup on paper and killing. Ponga a few weeks ago, we had like Sua Fatalonga, who was fine last week but not elite. Just a lot of challenging scenarios where fullbacks on paper should have dominated, and they didn't. They started pretty strong doing that, fullbacks at the start. recently it has not sort of been the case. And guys like Herbie had 2 gun matchups in a row, didn't do anything with it, which really hurts. Avoid calls, so where players are recommended to just, if you can, maybe sit them. It's not directional. It's not like a must do. It's just kind of like, if things aren't looking amazing on paper, whether that's like form and defense or pure defense they're coming up against, they're at 49%, so even a little bit better than gun, which is pretty cool. The big call out you'll see at the back end of the post on Twitter or wherever you find it, Instagram, is the upside tier confidence. That's our gun elite favourables. They're 62%. They were, I think they've been stable there. Or maybe that's dropped a little bit. No, I'm pretty sure that's stabilized at 62%, which is pretty awesome. Which basically means blue, green, or gold, whatever it is for your players, pretty high chance they're going to score quite well that week. So, and by quite well, I mean I'm pretty much happy as an owner of a player. Most of you would be the same if they score above their average. Casey McLean averages 70. If he's blue and scores 85, dude, we're all happy. Obviously, it may not be 120, but what's frustrating is when a good player scores below their average. I think we can all attest to that, which gets pretty scary and dicey when you own like Nicho, Hynes, Latrell, and Cleary, and they score an 80, which you would be happy with, but it's below their average. Bit counterintuitive when they have those so many mega upside ceiling games. So it's a bit of an accuracy update before we dive into the model. But as I said, I'm fading, so we're going to jump straight in here and just rip through this. For our gun matchups, Matt Dufty, his performances when given 80 minutes at fullback, which he's named to start at again, have been amazing, and the model just sees that, as well as a bit of defensive opportunity against that. Canberra just haven't been good against fullbacks. Noting Canberra were a little bit better on the weekend, so we just take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, Matt Dufty was a waiver pickup last week, depending on your team need. He is again this week while named. We don't know how much of a rest Wayne's giving Jai Gray, or whether it's just a matter of winning games and Jai Gray is just, going to keep developing in the background. I don't really know what's going on there. Team need dependent, it's risk associated, but if you've got Dufty, happy days. If you don't, you can waiver for him if you're needy in that area. If you have either a need for him or he's available, whether I'd burn a waiver on him, value over replacement, yeah, he definitely beats that. And then just whether you want to have him as trade bait or even leverage him and just ride until the wheels fall off if he has the gun matchup. Jenkins is back. Herbie's just too good of a player to really relinquish this, as well as having quite a bit of an opportunity. Doesn't pop up in the top 3 weaknesses, but we'll go through his matchup later. Sasagi, Isaako. Isaako's a mainstay here because he's just been so good. Nathan Cleary is back. Terrell May is sort of what I spoke about as an anchor kind of gun matchup where just pure pedigree. Drew Marshall King's an interesting one. We'll go through that. Hudson Young, Olakau'atu, and Twal, again, sort of just anchor type guys. The elites is probably more interesting to me than the guns. This is real interesting, some of the names that slot in here. This is Hugo Savala, but the system just sees the 5'8" tagged against him being like 5'8" halfback and kind of can't pull him as a centre, but he's playing right centre this week, Hugo Savala. A lot of guns in here as sort of they've got that pedigree locked in. Jacob Laban I call out as a bit of a free agency option at 2RF. He's unpredictable, but that's a guy there. I put Jacob Preston on the right and Billy Kickow on the left, but the system's panicking that Billy Kickow's in like the 20 jersey and Jamin Salmon's got the spot again. So just not sure whether it's Preston and Salmon or Kickow comes in late on the left edge, but that left 2RF could be Preston or Kickow, and the right 2RF could be Salmon if it's Preston, so on and so forth. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is the interesting stuff. Pure weakness, I'll let you go through that at your own accord. I lose my voice if we do that. But game 1. Yeah, this is tough, man. People think the Broncos are going to try and like turn their season around. This is not the game. I think they have much chance to do it. So all systems go on your Penrith boys. I'm going to also pull up my free agency little waiver wire list just to kind of cross-reference as I go through games, as you guys now know after we've done this style for a couple of weeks. Spoke about Dufty already, just making sure. Mam's back, that's the one, Mam. Not the game for him, dude. I would not be loving doing that. But there's a lot of Munster owners who might be needy, but I've got him probably as like the 3rd, if not 4th best 5/8 recovery option for Munster owners. There's no one in this game otherwise, I don't think. I'm just checking my stuff. Yeah, it's not for me. This is a tough one with Cleary playing on the Thursday. Obviously, he's the perfect VC in Classic and whatnot. Probably captain him too in NRL Fantasy. I don't love the Thursday, but I just don't see a better option given his quality and the opportunity that exists. one thing to note, Cleary's matchup modelled score is quite low because of how many games he's missed. Jack Cogger has like tanked the halves representation for Penrith, which is he still has the gun given how good he is and whatnot, but it's just worth noting. There's much worse than 65, don't get me wrong, it's still quite impressive, but Jack Cogger has basically logged halfback games in the database, and the model knows it's Nathan Cleary, knows he's better than Cogger, but still brings in some level of historic component to what that position's been doing. So don't panic if you're looking at that. I would never focus too much on these numbers, focus more on the color. That's why I did this system, to make it accessible for people. Green is good, gold is great, blue is great. I lied. Blue's really good, green's great, gold should be good, but as you know, 47%, it's not the best at the moment. But again, really tight threshold. So just go all these colors, thumbs up, good to go. Yeah, Carrigan's back. Haas, that's crazy to have a favourite matchup against the Penrith, but hey, it is what it is. There's a chance that forwards can kind of do something in these Penrith games. Next game, Cronulla, Newcastle. Just quickly check my list. I mentioned Hopwood last week. He did a job, but he's not named this week for the Knights, so not sort of going to feature again. And then Thomas Cant, unfortunately, goes back to the bench, and this is Manuelella. I thought Thomas Cant was pretty good. I didn't watch the game closely, actually, so I lied, but I think he's generally a decent player, so I'm surprised Manuelella has been given the shot there on the right. Maybe that's a late swap, maybe not. Maybe Cant did something that wasn't optimal in the eyes of the coach. Look, Jesse Ramian hit some upside on the weekend. In deep leagues, I think you want to slice this attack. I'm going to say you can grab Jesse Ramian if you think that's like if you've got the appetite for his output and his scoring profile. I personally don't really. I don't like players where I never know what's going to happen, whether it's a 30 or a 50 or a 100. But in deep leagues, 4 CTW leagues, or your classic stuff, he's a good guy to have as in the broader platoon of your group that you can bring in on matchups where this may not be the matchup to play a Jesse Ramian. But if you want to own him because you're third on the ladder, you've got a space, maybe you think you'll be able to get him on free agency, your team's pretty much sorted, you're most likely heading to finals, and you want to slice that Cronulla finals run, then I'm okay with Jesse Ramian. And by the same token, the Nicho stash is on. Well, it's not even a stash, it's a play. Big opportunity this week for Nicho, and there's a lot that is sort of scary when you're dealing with Nicho in terms of we just haven't seen him be Nicho for 2 years, but hopefully Origin sparks something in him, and the team attack is just so good you want to slice. But like I said, you just never know who's going to have a big game at the Sharks each week. Some weeks it's Trindle and Kennedy, other weeks it's Ero, some weeks it's Katoa, other weeks it's Mulatalo, sometimes it's Hynes and Wilton, or Hynes and Ero. Super unpredictable, but having a slice is pretty valuable in standard leagues. Just checking, I don't have anyone else for this game. Not really. Yeah, it's all those teams are pretty standard, pretty locked in. This game's interesting. Right center, as I mentioned, is Hugo Saval. Let's chuck that in. Tupou's back. I mentioned him as a pickup last week. Now he's owned and people got rewarded. But there is some games I'm not frothing to start Daniel Tupou. Just the inability, quote unquote, to turn like half breaks into line breaks at his age and leg speed is frustrating to watch for me, and that generally Billy Smith isn't the best passer. So yeah, great, got a hat trick. They came in a myriad ways, but I'm not dying to start Daniel Tupou until I see like that form roll on. However, if Sammy Walker's back, believe he is, let's just go on the assumption that he is, I'm pretty sure he is, then that's great for Tupou, because I think that opens up a little bit more kick value for Tupou, even though they did a great job servicing him last week. So he's good to own. I'm not dying to sort of start him, but this matchup's not too bad. Storm side, Nick Meaney had a good performance. I think you can grab him. The loss of Jerome Hughes hurts him a lot though, so just temper what you're doing with Nick Meaney, whether it's a waiver or a free agency, but I'm okay with owning him as a goal-kicking guy in the Storm. But I think they've got a pretty tough run coming up. I think I made a note on the cards on socials, so which I haven't released just yet. I'll do it straight after this video. So yeah, there's one there. Tyron Wishart's the big one. Yeah, I think Tyron Wishart's a waiver. There's a few reasons why. One, you're replacing 5'8". Two, you're upgrading 5'8". Maybe you've been running the MAM DCE type level. Wishart's just better. It is a smaller runway. It could be 3 weeks. I've seen well, I haven't seen Munster come back from this particular surgery in short time, but we see like quick turnarounds with injuries and these little cleanup surgeries sometimes. 3 weeks, temper the waiver accordingly. It's round 20 most, so it's round 20 you get out of him. 21, 22, that's 3 weeks. He could be of no value round 1 of finals. So is a high waiver worth 3 weeks of potential value? That's up to you to decide on whether he makes a start in your team. If he's not going to start for you, I'm okay letting him go through to the keeper. Where else he's valuable is if it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and we hear, which we won't know. So again, temper expectations and make your strategic decision your own. But the other part is if you're playing the Munster owner this week, in a couple of weeks, I would waiver to block because Munster's someone who can score an 80 on you. And if you have Wishart, the other part, if you're really in a fun active league, you waiver for him and you can trade him to the Munster owner for an upgrade at CT dub that beats what's available on waiver if that's the case. So there might be a CT dub someone has excess of, or maybe someone's got no 5'8" or whatever, and Wishart will offer them value and they might need to make finals. So just get creative. Wishart is a waiver if you think you can turn him into something, or that immediate output from him is valuable. So we've got a few buys. Like, I don't think many people will be, but like if you're relying on Volkman, obviously you waive him, Wishy, blah blah blah. But you've got Dolphins next week, so if you're a Nicarima owner, you grab Wishy this week, knowing you get this week and next most likely. Then you've got Manly, so if you've got Joey Walsh, who's a halfback. So, but again, that's a great one. Like Joey Walsh or Fogarty, you grab him. He's dual. Wishy's dual makes him valuable. I think if he, pardon me, it blew into the thing. I think if Wishy wasn't dual, I'd be a bit lower. But yeah, I'm in on Wishy for the experience. In fact, I might be burning a waiver on him just to, if anything happens to Munster and Wishy's there in round like 24, 25 for me with Clifford, there's coverage there. I highly doubt that's the case. But hey, 3 to 4 weeks can easily become 4 to 5, 4 to 6, pending how Melbourne go. If they're winning a lot, they might just say Munster get fully right. If they lose a lot, it's the opposite. Who knows? But Wishy, we know what he can do from a Supercoach perspective. So I think 3 weeks from finals, I can burn my waiver and climb back up to a decent spot, I think. So I have to think about that once I finish recording this. Spoke about Wishy. Ramsey, plug and play, you can do that. That's fine. Moses Leo, deep leagues. Howarth, I'm fine with deep leagues as a start on that matchup score. That's decent. You guys know what you're doing with the Roosters. The other guy is, I didn't write, but luckily I saw him, is Nat Butcher. He's available in many leagues, and I think he's got potential rest of season value and upside. He just bases his heart out and could really benefit outside Sam Walker. He's a great kick chase guy, Nat Butcher. Really like him. If your league's been sleeping, he's free agentable. Like, you could get that value, but I'd burn a waiver on him. I think, especially in standard leagues, as a third 2RF, you just cannot do much better, in my opinion. Oren Keeley named to start straight away. So if you paid attention, I told you can stash Keeley. So that was on socials, probably in the video too last week. It was a luxury stash last week because we just didn't know. I think even the week before, it was a luxury stash too. I can't remember what I said verbatim, but people in the draft community and our Discord, the Upside Discord, they've been on Keeley for weeks. The moment it was approved as a sign-off, people stashed him instantly in the community league. So he's not been available in that world, but everyone playing in that playing hard knows you could have stashed Keeley. His value was limited, and I still think without Hughes, his value is somewhat capped. But we know when Hughes is back, it's serious gear being on the right if you have a flaw unlike Joe Chan. But yeah, we saw what Joe Chan did. What's his face? Eli Katoa. So Keeley is like in deep leagues or just in sleepy leagues. He's a guy that could, in your third 2RF, give you like second 2RF value, which is perfect, or in a platoon or rotationally. And then you can trade him if you don't trust that it's going to stick around. Again, without huge short-term hamstring soreness, I believe someone in the Discord just told me. That sort of thing. Just set expectations, but I'm all good for a waiver on Keely. If I had to rank Keely over, if I had to rank Keely, Butcher, and Britton Nikora, if you're choosing out of these guys, this is the way I see it. Nikora has the best final strength of schedule, so if you're set for finals, he's like your best upside gamble, but has somewhat job security questions. Nat Butcher, I don't know where Angus Crichton's injury is at with his recovery, but he's also leaving, so it's probably like Nat Butcher 1 for me, probably. Then it's probably Nikora if I'm fighting for finals, or Keely if I'm trying to win right now, potentially. That's not to say Nikora won't be better, blah, blah, but they offer different things, Nikora and Keely. Keely's just unproven at this team, but usually when he plays 80, he does something. He can run a line, he plays hard. This is super deep tinfoil hat crap, but he's had his hamstring sleeve on one of his legs like every time he's played this year, and he had it again in the Storm. If there's anything in that, I don't know. You don't have to over-index on that, but I do want you to know that, that leads me to kind of maybe go Nikora. And then if you're going to have to play them this week, Nikora's got the 7th best matchup, and then Nat Butcher 8th, and Keely is an avoid 15th. So you don't want to start Keely this week, but you can 100% start Nat Butcher and Nikora. So I think Keely's 3rd on that list. I think I'd go Nat, Nikora, Keely, but I have no issues if you want to chase the dragon and go Nikora, Nat, and then Keely. And there's more there as well to talk about, guys, in those situations. So just make sure I spoke about everyone before we jump into the next game. No, I missed someone. Guys, Trent Liero is available in like, I think 50-something%, maybe high 40s. Played 80. He will do a job for you, Trent Liero. It's ugly, but he will do a job. So yeah, you can do that Trent Liero thing if you're in a deep league, 100%. He's probably owned in deep leagues, but just wanted to let you guys know. Oh, Cooper Clark too. Another one from the Storm. Played 80 or 72, something like that. If he's playing anything over 65 minutes as an FRF2 in deep leagues, it's a jackpot for people that have him. The minutes impacts in his left half, but he's a start in this one. But he's got no Munster on that left. It's going to be like Trent Talau or Wishy on the left. I don't love it, but it just, yeah, from a broader perspective, Cooper Clark's a hold. He's a free agency get, all that sort of stuff as a upside FRF2. He seems to be trusted, and yeah, the minutes are kind of somewhat valuable and usable. There's some gun matchups in this. Sungy, Hudson Young, Dufty, David Fifita played 80. So unpredictable, so stressful, so confusing. I traded him last week. You don't need to do that if you have him. I had him in 2 leagues, so I'm more than happy to have him in just the one, which I do now, and just let someone else deal with the headache if it comes in the other one. But it was a great deal for me. I'm okay with it. But yeah, it looked good again. As I said to you in all these videos, he's looked awesome. I just don't know what's going on there. I heard that Bennett came out and said he was gassed the other week. What the hell? Like, how does he go 80-80 gassed 80? It's like, you're either fit or you're not. I don't know what the deal is there. So Fafita's fine, looks awesome. You start him, go for it, this one. I respect little Ashton Ward knowing how to use Fafita, that's cool. And then Ewan Aitken had the heart issue and he's back. So Ewan Aitken owners, if you didn't drop him, he's playable again. Just don't know like whether he does and whatever. Noah Martin was our number 1 kind of hot ticket last week with Tupou, depending on what you needed. They both delivered. Martin, honestly, 76 with a line break try. It's not great, but his floor seems to be pretty good when he plays the minutes. He's a great player, great kid in terms of the effort. And Ricky said that him and Papali'i coming back improves their, what was it like? What was the word? Ricky Stewart said it was like their quality or starch or integrity, or he used some word like that. Basically just being like, yeah, this dude's a dog and like this is better for us, which is so sick. So I think it's all systems go, which it was last week because you take the punt, and then he delivered. So yeah, I grabbed him somewhere and started him, and yeah, got the benefits, which was cool. Zach Hosking did a thing, did a big, huge hat trick, which was just bizarre. Keep trotting him out there until the minutes change. Oh, and Paddy's another one I want to mention. I did mention him last week. He delivered. He's a strong team-dependent waiver pick. Someone in the Discord mentioned that Ricky Stewart said that he won't something about Tom Starling's been in the middle getting hammered, so he's going to like give him a break. At this time of year, you need to look after guys' bodies. What Tom Starling does for us is amazing, so on and so forth. So this is not green lights, 100% on Paddy, all systems go, but it's certainly one of those times in Supercoach where you feel like if it's not now, then you've missed the window because someone else will decide that it's now, and if he stays on, Owen Paddy kicking on, they got the benefit. Great for like a Coruscant owner because of the round 23 bye. Like, I mean, you don't know in 23 if that'll be happening, but it could be if you're in finals contention. If you've got Jeremy Marshall King or whatever and he's on bye next week and you're fighting for finals, Owen Paddy might do a job for you this weekend. Next weekend if he's still getting those minutes. The problem is you just don't know which game or which week he won't get the minutes. Big risk, team dependent, very situational. But we saw at the start of the year, people got rewarded for Sasangis. They got rewarded for like Tanner Boyds, all these guys that you kind of go, oh, I don't know. And it's like, if it sticks, bang, it's legit. Who else? Yeah, we spoke about Martin. We spoke about Cooper Clark. We're getting through it, team. We spoke about Mam. We spoke about Wishy. We spoke about Howarth and Toops. They'll do a job. Sione Katoa is not high enough owned, so if he isn't, just grab him. We spoke about Meaney, and Dufty and Cody Ramsey. We're getting there. Jesus. Mad hay fever, so perfect time for a quick break to show you, if you haven't already seen it, guys, the finals run home free interactive dashboard on the Draft Oracle site. You just pull up the site, draft-oracle.com, and you just go to any of these tabs that you want to play around in. But Finals Outlook is where we are now. You can interrogate each team, look at the pure strength of schedule, meaning purely the defensive weakness of the players they're playing for the period, or you can look at the modeled with Form 1. Really great for looking at like your targets, the guys that you want to back all the way in, so you can see the ranks. My favorite, honestly though, is just the power rankings. It looks so sick. You just come in here and you've got your top 6 form opponent opportunity run home window. You just go bang. So like, I think last week Kalen was up top, Sue was up top based on the way defenses have rolled out this weekend. Jenkins, Herbie, Alamotti, these are your guys you want in your team. Burns is the sickest pod for me in terms of classics and fantasies. I'll be looking at getting Braden Burns in with one of my last trades, I think, based on this. Just absolutely humming. With Dearden to come back, it's through the roof for the Cows and their strength of schedule. Cleary and Hynes are musts. If you look at this stuff, just absolutely musts. Terrell, the data doesn't know that Terrell's been getting lucky with some minutes due to injuries. I think Terrell's a cheeky fade despite the power rankings, guys. Jeremy Marshall King, Harry Grant, Pascoe, Brayley, all that good stuff. Just jump in here, have a quick look around. My favourite's the power rankings, but you can just go to like actual windows, look at what teams are in that spot. Advanced is kind of modelled players as well. Let it load up. Come on, girl. And then, yeah, you got all the things you need to see here to kind of make your decisions. So Dylan Lucas to come through in this window here for drafters, or if you want to know, like in the last 3 weeks, is pretty crazy because he's got a buy. So it just shows you how good his opportunity is despite having a buy there, same as KP. So yeah, jump on the Draft Oracle for free. Check that out. Play around there. Get your trades and all your sit starts sorted each week for the finals run home. Next game's Warriors St. George. I'll go a bit quicker now because, yeah, I said I'd be quick and we're at 28 minutes because I was waxing lyrical. It's actually quite an interesting waiver week, so I did want to get all that right. I just said CHT is a low end. Does he pick his form back up? We got the matchup this week. Munster owners might just want to grab a guy off freeze. Chanel's the guy to get off freeze. Brimson is also another guy that I'll mention a bit later. He's a potential guy to get off freeze. I'm trying to look at, like, if you can't waiver for Wishart and you don't really want to go for Mam, I'm trying to look at some alternatives for your Munster owners. Can't Pereira. I was interesting. Dallon's back and Chanel misses out. Which is interesting. Jacob Laban is a deep league TRF, but it's hard to rely on him, but he's got something there. It just comes and goes. He might have won that spot. Lecker looked gassed. Don't know. So Jacob Laban, I think in deep leagues, he's stashable, but free agency, much preferred. The St. George are pretty much set. I'm not really going to touch on them. Yeah, let's get on to this next one. Jared Haywood, the hooker, I think free agency only with Appy in the reserves and stuff, so I wouldn't be bothering too much, even though he looked past the eye test, looked really good. Fainu Brothers, it's fine. Not the week for them. Spoke about, I don't know whether this will be Jamin Salmon, Billy Kicks. If Billy Kicks has been dropped or is available, 100% time to grab him. Jacob Preston. Billy Kicks probably sits above all those others, like the Nat Butchers and stuff for me, just on the output side of things. Maybe if your team's really set and the risk and whatnot of Billy Kicks is not worth it, I don't mind just the Nat Butcher over Kicks. But generally speaking, from what I saw at the start of the season from Kicks, I think I've got my stats open. I'll just have a quick look at Billy Kicks' stats. Just going to clean his injury game. 64 average. If I do drop out the 35 against Souths in round 5, which was still 80 minutes, but then that's a 70. So just cleaning him a little bit, 70. If I drop out his lowest and his highest, so then it's 63. So it's fine. Let's go player compare with Nat Butcher. I might bring this over. I'll show you guys. So Butcher's had a really torrid minutes game, 72 when he plays in the 12, the 11, 64. So already you're seeing, let's just go second row, 65 average in second row. There'll be other games with bits and pieces, but they're pretty close. I've dropped the injury game out of Thingo. Finals wise, favourable, neutral, tough, avoid, gun, elite, neutral. Next few games though, Wests, Warriors, Melbourne for Kicks if he plays this week. Whereas Nat Butcher, Melbourne, Newcastle, Cowboys, not as juicy. Though Nat, if he's still in the position at round 25, it's Wests, Dolphins, Souths. Most grand finals are 26. That's pretty nice. Whereas Kicks goes South, St George, Penrith. Dude, look at the difference in base. That alone tells you all you kind of need to know. Yeah, Kicks was pretty good last year, 67. It's pretty validating on the 64. So, yeah, that's that little bit of analysis done. What else did I have for this one? Rinakama has a matchup this week. Elite. I think he's a great start this week, dude. I'd be starting any Cowboys backline against this West. Are just disgusting. Yeah, all systems go. Preston, all that crap. Like in draft, you could captain Preston, I reckon, nearly. For some people, I wouldn't 100% do it, but I reckon for some people. You mentioned Brimson as a potential free agency 5/8 option. Just been so mud. This is not the matchup for it, but you might not have you might not have another choice. Seeing who else to mention in this. Laban we mentioned. I don't think there's anything in this. Hey, Simpkin just keeps doing it and he's still quite lowly owned. So just grab Jake Simpkin. Hooker issues solved. Dolphins, North Queensland. I wanted to touch on Jamayne Nanai, still available in many leagues. He'll do a job. I don't love it personally. Good matchup for him this weekend. It says neutral, but the conceding is really high. Neutral's about the role. So, yeah, he just needs to do a lot to go well. I've got Dearden here as elite. He's on the extended, or the reserves or whatever. I assume he comes in. I think all accounts is he's coming in, but there's a risk he doesn't, and that does impact some of the backline players. But yeah, happy for like Dearden. Like if I know he's playing, it's like a captaincy option A. They've got some cattle back though. To be fair, the Finns. They're not conceding much, but Burns still has a favourable because he's been so good, and I back that 100%. That right edge is awesome. Drinky neutral, but I think you can fire him up. This should be a good one for Dearden if he plays. Drinky. On the Dolphins side, Selwyn's back doing things on the left. He's a great start in this on a Sunday Arv. Bostock's playing, which is good. Good for owners. Good for Bostock. Joe Marshall King, the gun matchup. That's a crazy conceding amount, but I'm not going nuts over Joe Marshall King. Because kind of if you got him, you're starting him. He's not too interesting there. So yeah, just running through the names. Owen Paddy, Simpkin at hooker. Cooper Clark, and I just wanted to mention Lindsay Smith as a stash just in case his minutes are up. Because Moses Leota, I don't know if he's going this year or next, but just in case Lindsay Smith's played himself into 60 minutes and into some form, he's like a deep league monitor stash. And Liam Henry the same, don't know what his minutes will be, but he was so good in the period of the Origin that he's nearly, you kind of just want to see what happens. I don't put too much value on it, but it is just needs to be called out. It's a strategic play. So at 2RF, there's heaps of options. Kickow, Noah Martin, Oren Keeley, Trent Liero, Nicho, Nat Butcher, Laban in deepers, Nanai in mid to deepers as part of a platoon for the final strength of schedule. Nanai and Nicho are more about finals planning. Martin's immediate. Keeley's an upside punt in deep leagues. Kickow's immediate. And Liero's a base guy who's probably owned but can do a job. 5/8, it's Wishart. He's probably still the number one for the week. Maybe Noah Martin sits above him. I'd even argue maybe Nat Butcher for some people. I don't know enough about... Like, Nat Butcher has risk associated, right? It might sound like I'm pumping him up too much, but it has to be mentioned that if Dingo doesn't come back and he plays 80, he's a 65-plus averaging guy. That's great. He could average more than Noah Martin, dude, right? So you need to just call it how you see it. That's what I reckon. CT Dub, it's not very fun. Sione Katoa is the main one. Toops, if not owned. Rinakama for a matchup play. Meany, but a tough run and a tough matchup. Jack Howarth, similar. Fullback, it's Dufty. He's a big one, I think, if you've got Gray or struggling at fullback and you want to take a punt that he's got the job rest of season, then yeah, Dufty's a good one. Jesus, I can't believe it's been 35 minutes. Right, let's get over this. So yeah, that's the games, that's the matchups, that's the pickups. Super spicy week. All you need to do is like this video if you enjoy it and if you want me to keep pushing through the final 7 rounds. Comment extra if you seriously want that. Socials has all the posts, guys. The Draft Oracle site has now a range of free tools. You can forecast your players for 3 rounds, all that good stuff. The defense map is up there. The top matchups are up there, so check out the site just in general. I'll link it below. The finals planning or finals strength of schedule dashboard's up there for you to enjoy too for free. And yeah, there's heaps of new changes within the Draft Oracle platform as well for my drafters and my subscribers. I've been tweaking all bits and pieces. There's really cool fun little features. So the fight is not over. Never say die. We push hard. There's finals contention math now too, which basically helps you understand if you've clinched or not a spot. It's pretty tight. It's really strong algorithmically. So you'll only get clinched when it's like pretty 100% sure, and people will only be eliminated when it's also 100% sure. So check that out if you're in there. Thanks so much. Good luck with your waivers and your matchups this weekend.